Hot off of Budokai, it's Dragon Ball FighterZ! AKA the really, really good fighting game that has a significantly worse story mode.
That's the
Yeah.
worst.
The oh god. Okay. FighterZ is
Oh, what are
I
we
just,
doing?
don't worry, I disable those eventually.
What is this? Sonic
Eventually.
Forces?
Arc System Works is really good at making anime fighters, and by anime fighters I mean sprite-based anime-styled fighters with anime as fuck character design. Seriously, have you seen anything from BlazBlue? And that's not even getting into Guilty Gear. Persona 4 Arena is like the most down-to-earth thing they've ever made, and even that got a little stupid when they started writing the story mode.
You know, it's weird when Persona is considered down to earth compared to what they did previously.
What's the least anime thing you can think of? Persona. Huh? What?
Arc System Works and Atlas have like actually a pretty
Isn't
good
that the one with
relationship
Hitler in a
each other.
jetpack?
Okay, the animation in these cutscenes is kind of slow.
Sucks.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, no. I'm not going to say, look, the models look great. The animations for the faces are fantastic.
It's
But the
kinda
actual choreography and the animations for dialogue just fucking blows.
Yeah.
It's so slow.
It's kind of like the animations are playing at 12 frames per second or something. I don't get it. What?
Yeah.
Is this the N64?
I
Is it
was
just like a
actually
really high-res N64?
I was actually a bit confused by this because the game runs at 60 frames per second, but these cutscenes are clearly running at less than that.
Yeah, if it's not like 24 frames per second, it's 12, and it's really weird. You know what also does that? But you kind of get used to that pretty quickly. Cuphead, because Cuphead plays at 60, but the frame animation is 24.
Well, that's
Well,
just
yeah,
to
that
emulate
makes-
the old sprites.
that makes sense.
The old
because, like,
animation, I should say. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
usually don't go for the whole 24 frames per second as cinematic or something thing, but for an animation style, an art style that's emulating really old school cartoons, it really would look weird if the frame rate was higher, because well, that's how they were animated, you know. But, I suppose we should count our blessings. This is an Arc System Works game, and we're actually getting cutscenes rather than visual novel scenes. So, that's something, but it's like they don't know how to do it properly or something. I don't know.
I think Guilty Gear Xrd had like an actual proper cinematic story mode, but the versions after that with Red Letter and whatnot was what you said. It was like it was a flip books and after that.
And it should be stressed. We know that at the end of the day, FighterZ being no exception, that a story mode in a fighting game should have not so high standards in the first place. But I think just like compared to what we have nowadays, especially after game, it's funny because we went into Budokai, we went into this in Budokai a little bit, but like Mortal Kombat 9, X, the Injustice games. It's like the bar has been raised a bit in terms of what we expect from stories and fighting games, even though those stories aren't A+ themselves.
Well, there's a line to be drawn in the sand here. There's the story, and then there's the story mode through which you experience it. I expect decent goddamn presentation, and I expect a fun story mode to play through while experiencing it. If the story is rock stupid, I can live with that as long as it's entertaining in how it's presented to me through the game and the cutscenes. You know, I'm a Dead or Alive fan. Just stupid storylines are my bread and butter in fighting games. But
I love Dead or Alive.
We all know why you love Dead or Alive, Kane.
Okay, yes. That point aside, it's still fun though.
Okay, Dead or Alive 5 story mode is like the bottom of the barrel in terms of story modes I will accept as good in a fighting game. And that story was dumb, but the story mode was fine enough. And the cutscenes were amusing when they stepped away from the dumb ninja plot and just focused on the fighting tournament.
Yeah.
That stuff was good. I liked it. It was entertaining, and it gave me a sense for the characters. Now, you could argue that you don't necessarily need that because everybody knows everything for Dragon Ball Z. But
This is its own unique storyline, though, is the thing.
yeah, that's
Even though in terms of plot significance, characterization, and so forth, as far as the main plot goes, it might as well just be glorified filler.
It's
Yeah.
it's a unique story, but it's the most bland self-insertion horseshit that you could possibly come up with.
Wait, hang on. It's Xenoverse?
No, it's even worse than that. You're not even making your own character. You are literally some Earth person whose soul was ripped out of them and put into the Z Fighters.
Wait.
And is
what?
that all right? So, so I should go and state where I'm at. I put about an hour into the story mode and I gave up. I got bored. I got tired of it. Is the Earthling that's inside your body ever explained?
Nope.
It's the link system is just the thing that is.
Yeah, it's there to be self-insertion, so you can take part in the story, even though the story doesn't matter.
Because basically the way it works is that the main villain, or main character, I should say, for the story arc, Android 21, created a wave that neutralizes like everyone's power. It's basically a justification for everyone to fight each other without power stopping them. But for some reason, a human is able to link inside their bodies and, like, I guess, guide them or take control of them. Some other thing, and that's it. I mean, yeah, it's very lazily handled.
Okay, no joke. Like 2 weeks ago, I read a Naruto fanfiction where, like, the self-insertion concept was someone from the real world being like possessing Hinata Hyuga's body and living her life. It was a surprisingly good story. I have a feeling it's better than what this game does. Over the long
this
haul,
game does not
but...
this game does not explain how it works. The game does not really let you make any real decisions, and it ultimately doesn't matter.
The point is, it's not an original fan fiction concept they went with here.
I just love how you can hear the rage in the man's voice as he talks.
Okay, so good fighting game, a terrible story, which is disappointing.
That's not new. But
it's disappointing considering its Arc Systems works here, because I'm used to them putting out stories like Blaze Blue, which is a horrible story mode. It's just a visual novel with occasional fighting bits every couple of hours, but it's a good story. It's a really good story, It at least has that going for it. So, what we've got here is a good fighting game with some pretty mediocre as fuck presentation and a pretty terrible story. So, basically the only reason to come here is if you want the gameplay.
It's most disappointing because though the story itself is pretty and the structure of it is even worse, there are a lot of moments I do like in the story concerning fan service and callbacks, and
you can mix and match your teams and get different cutscenes going into battle with them, especially characters that normally would never interact due to how the story works. So it has good character moments that are separate from the main story entirely, which is
doubly
a
so
weird
if
thing
you're
to
like
say.
humongous Dragon Ball nerd, you get what they're referencing.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of in-jokes.
Well, I'll be showing some of them, obviously, but.
I think some of my favorite things, and I'm not sure if it was story mode or anything, but I looked up pretty much everything on YouTube.
Honestly, you're better off just looking it up on YouTube than actually playing this.
Yeah, so just looking up all the moments and stuff. Like to me, one of the favorite things about this game is like the inner moments where the character is talking to the person inside them, and they're like, I don't know, it's more like therapy sessions where they're just talking to each other.
Okay, guys, clap your hands.
Like
Remember,
things.
people outside the TV, clap your hands if you want Goku to come back. Clap if you believe in Goku. Come on, guys. Come on, bring Goku back.
It's fucking Dora the Explorer in Dragon Ball.
The thing I'm curious about is like, what's your guys' take on like story modes in general? Because I'm kind of old school. I really like having a good arcade mode where you can just get like a story for your character, rather than this like overall global thing.
I like that. Like one of the things that pissed me off most about Street Fighter V is that it didn't have an arcade mode out the gate. Like I couldn't even get the dinky little ending at the end of an 8 fight marathon.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't mind a story mode where you can see the characters in. Okay, fighting games are all about their characters. That's just the actual story that puts these characters together is not important. How the characters interact is what will make the story mode or whatever memorable, because at the end of the day, fighting games are about the characters and who you get attached to. And so, again, I like having a story mode in that sense so that you can see characters interact. But then again, if you're going to do a story mode, you have to do it good, because even if this is bad, I can guarantee you this is probably nowhere near as bad as, like, say, Tekken 7, which is an abysmal story mode, and I hate it, and it's awful.
I've heard people defend that story mode.
Oh, well, they're wrong. I'm sorry.
I've
Why
heard
would that
people
be more
defend that
interesting?
story mode, and I'm like, are you serious?
No, it's awful.
The people who defend it apparently really like the Mishima stuff, which is apparently what it's focused on. So.
Yeah, it is, but honestly, I think the Mishima stuff's really stupid because they like barely explain anything new, and it's awful. We'll do it.
Look, I played through the entire Tekken 7 story mode. I will say it is better than this. It's at least shorter and more interesting than this.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, because this is if you're playing. I did some extra stuff going through this story mode, but even just breakneck pacing through the last two story modes, they each took me at least 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's at least 12 hours to get through all the stories.
It's 12 hours for a story mode
In a fighting game.
Oh,
it's all
that
filler.
is
Frieza and
absurd.
Cell are back again.
Yeah, I think the one of the things that caught me off guard about this game is that it takes place during Super. Like,
Yeah.
I thought, like, I don't know why. I got the impression that it was, like, just slightly after Z, but not actually during Super. Because when I saw Beerus and Whis in the game, I thought it was like, oh, they're just DLC extras. And I was like, you can just download them later, like Super Saiyan Blue. It was like,
Or
oh,
they're,
no,
they're,
it's
they're
actually,
just characters or something, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
actually taking place during Super.
To be fair, that is something that Arc System Works does, where they include a bunch of characters that they plan to include as DLC later, as like appearances in the story mode, and then you get them as DLC, and then you get the extend version where they're playable. I think like the last character to be added to the Blaze Blue roster in the last extend version of the last game appeared really early on in the first one. So
Well, no, do you know what the dumb thing is, though, about that? The fact that this takes place during Super, though? Beerus is not, a character that is either playable or, a clone version to fight in the story mode. Neither is Hit, who is also in Super. They have no bearing on the story. They're not around. They don't do anything. So it kind of makes you question, okay, whatever then.
Well, they play off the god thing pretty early on. It's like, Beerus and Whis they're gods. They're not supposed to get involved. As for Hit, he's in a different universe, and I don't know why the hell he'd be here anyway.
That kind of thing has never stopped Arc System Works from making a character playable, because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, at the same time,
Beerus is playable as a character in the game. He's just not in the story mode in gameplay or really beyond this cutscene.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, because that fits Arxis's MO as far as that.
I don't doubt that Arxis would find a way to include Beerus or Whis into the story mode, but I think what they were just trying to do is just keep it faithful to what the show does and how it's established that Beerus won't get involved in earthly affairs.
17 is really prevalent in the third story mode, and he's obviously not even playable in the game at the moment, but he's also heavily rumored to be DLC quite early on from what people have been doing with digging through files and whatnot in the actual source code.
So have they announced who's going to be DLC yet, or no?
No, just that there's going to be 8 characters.
8 characters. Okay.
Okay. Arc System Works. Just give Bulma superpowers and make her playable. Okay.
You don't even have to give her
weirdest thing you've ever done.
superpowers. Just have her use tech junk or whatever.
Yeah, just have her be the game's Tron Bond.
Yeah.
Why not
Have
both?
you use Ripley's mech suit from Aliens?
Didn't Bulma invent the thing that turned Vegeta Super Saiyan 4 in GT?
Yeah, but that's GT. We don't count GT. Not yet, anyway, because apparently Super is either going on hiatus or just straight up ending in March at the time of this recording.
It's going
So
on
we
hiatus.
don't know what that. Yeah, I've been hearing two different sides to it. I hear it's going on hiatus. I hear it's just straight up ending.
Well,
Whatever
nobody
it is.
knows.
It could be both, because anime for some reason, they finally stepped away from forcing every series to have a new season every goddamn year, but now they've started changing the title on us every time they take a break for a year or more. So,
Well, the other question about
It
Super is,
depends on the show.
where do you go with Super after you've had destruction of entire universes? Where's the escalation from that?
You make a giant pink guy who's the same as the last thing you just fought.
yeah, pretty much.
My hope is it won't happen, but my hope is that whatever they decide to do with the series afterwards. First off, I hope it's after Z, entirely after Z. I'm talking about post time skip.
Yeah.
So that they don't write themselves into a corner from the get-go. That's the one thing I always hated about Super is like they established immediately that it's before the time skip in Z, where everyone's alive and well and Goku heads off to train Oob. Because by telling me that you've removed all sense of tension or any sort of stakes for the characters, the planet it's in, or the universe itself.
We know Beerus isn't going to destroy the Earth because we've already seen the Earth after Beerus got here.
Yeah, exactly. We know the universal survival arc is going to be just fine because everybody is just fine on planet Earth at the end of Z. So the tension's completely gone. So whatever they do, whatever they have planned, whether they continue Super or maybe they give it a different subseries like Dragon Ball Shippuden or some other shit like that. I don't fucking know subtitles in the anime. I hope it's after the entirety of Z, and I hope we explore the other universes, honestly.
By the way, how did you like
that?
That?
Was a really cool thing.
By the way, how did you like that first 20-ish minutes or so of the game of having one tutorial fight and nothing but cutscenes?
Yes, I was gonna say I just had to remember the 16 battle that you just did because I was like, did we throw a single punch at all in that?
Ryan, let's be fair here though. An episode of Dragon Ball Z where it's 15 minutes of talking and 30 seconds of fighting is completely, absolutely, totally normal. So
15 minutes of talking is being generous. What you mean to say 15 minutes of staring?
Staring, yeah. Okay, you know what? The only thing that's missing is the 5 minutes of Goku going Rah!
We'll get to
Okay,
that.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Sean Shamel, just pass that again.